Me, I don't have no makeup on. Take your glasses off. Next time you see me, I'm gonna be glammed up. So you're gonna need about 5 to 6 packs of the new locs crochet lock hair, and you're gonna need some combs, some hair ties, and also some edge control, some really good edge control. So right here, I'm adding some Jamaica and lime black castor oil to my mother's hair just to give it some moisture. And then here we're gonna go ahead and blow dry some more. She was frustrated with me because she's super tender-headed. We're still blow drying. And at this moment, she knew she messed up. So here we're going to go ahead and continue to blow dry. We're basically picking out her hair. Her hair is extremely short. It's extremely hard for me to braid short hair, even though I can. So I'm going to go ahead and stretch it out so I can do the best braids that I can. So her crochet will go ahead and stay as long as possible. If you don't do this and you have short hair, you run the risk of not being able to braid tight and not being able to hold the crochet locks in for the amount of time that you want them in. So it's really important. So now that everything is pretty much for the most part picked out and as long as possible, or as long as I could get it, we're going to go ahead and start with the braiding, and then we're going to go ahead and just separate her perimeter from her middle part where we're going to go ahead and just put the crochet through. I'm just still picking it out, trying to get it as long as possible, and then we're going to go ahead and knock out the braiding portion of everything. All right, so here comes the part where we're going to separate the perimeter from the crochet section. Just as I was saying a bit earlier, we're going to go ahead and just part out what you want to use in individuals and what you want to go ahead and put in the crochet. Now, I will warn you, the bigger the section that you put out, the more individual braids you're going to have to do. And the whole point of doing crochet is to kind of cut the time in half. So you want to make sure that you're making sense with your partings. My mom, the locks that we were using were pretty small, so I had to do some pretty small sectioning in the front. So just keep that in mind. The further back you go with the individuals, of course, the more realistic and nice they will look. However, you're kind of defeating the purpose of doing crochet by doing a whole bunch of individuals. So keep that in mind. Braiding hair, just to get the perimeter out of the way. So right now we're using braiding hair. Now for the individuals, if you're going to use hair to kind of do the technique that I'm going to show you a little bit later on, I would strongly recommend Marley hair. Marley hair is a little bit more rough, and it makes sense for goddess locks or for faux locks rather than Kankalon hair. The Kankalon hair that I'm using right now is basically just to separate the perimeter from the crochet portion, so that's fine. However, again, with the individuals in the front, I'm going to recommend that you use Marley hair. Marley hair is just going to make so much more sense, and you'll understand later on in the video why I say that. Off the video, I actually went back and used Marley hair in the front, and it was just so much easier. So just keep that in mind, okay? Is in the individuals, and the side is in braids, and we're just gonna attach each braid to the next one, so then it kind of gives it a flat illusion. The braids don't have to be perfect, because Lord knows with short hair you can't do that because it's hard to even grip it. So you're just gonna keep going. These are not gonna show at all. None of this is gonna show once you start putting the locks in. So stay tuned, and we're gonna finish this side and connect everything, and then we'll start with the putting in the locks. Now that we're done with our braids, these are gonna be the individuals, and this is going to be your crochet area. So the first thing we're gonna do is we're gonna start off in the back. Try to not pile up the hair in the back because you need it to kind of cover everything. And you're also gonna need maybe like a pack to a pack and a half for the front, depending on how small you do the locks. or the braids for the locks in the front. So try to keep it at a minimum in the back. You can space it out a little bit and just make sure that you get it in good in the front, and I'll go ahead and show you how to get that started. All right, so we have a couple of the crochet in at this point. I'm left-handed, so you can start from whatever side you would like or whatever side you would prefer. What you're gonna do is you're basically just gonna go ahead and push the crochet hook through, put the little opening of the lock on the crochet, pull it through, and then go ahead and loop it. As you can see right now, I'm just making sure that when you pull it over, it looks pretty decent and it looks nice. I'm just gonna work my way up from side to back and then back to the side again. Just do whatever feels natural for you. Make sure that you're spacing it out enough to go ahead and have enough hair. I used about 5.5 packs, 5, 6, I believe. So just make sure you're mindful of that. You're gonna need it for the individuals as well, and just make sure that everything is falling the way that you want it to fall, and then just periodically check back and forth. Okay, so here I decided to just switch the crochet hook. I don't know if a lot of people know, but there's different sizes and crochet hooks that you can use. The locks that I'm doing are really small, so I decided to switch to a small crochet hook to be able to get through the braids a little bit quicker and faster. And then as you could see, when you go ahead and put it in the very front, it looks like individuals. Now the key to that is that you have to make sure that you do the braids really well. They don't have to be neat, just make sure they're parted really well so they look like individuals once you start lining them up. That is a major key with these, to kind of make them look really good and blend in seamlessly with the individuals in the front. Okay, so we are about 3 packs in. We just opened our 4th pack, and this is what we're looking like right now. Spacing out is important. And then if you, of course, after you're done getting everything in and you see that you might need to fill in some gaps, you can do that, but it's really important that you space out more than anything initially, just so you can get the whole head done. And then right here, it's important to make small cornrows, because when you kind of pull it back, that's what makes it kind of look like individuals. I don't know if you... Okay, so now we have the back all in. As you can see, it looks like individuals with the way that it was braided back and kind of everything was put closely. So now the disclaimer with this portion and the technique that I'm going to do in the front. Actually, right now I'm putting in just an extra one. I'm showing you how to just add some in if you feel like it's too spaced out or too gapped. In a minute, I'm going to show you how to do the technique in the front only for short hair, because we're going to be using nail glue pretty close to the scalp, I guess I want to say. So this technique is only going to be good for short hair. If you still want to do it and you have long hair, that's fine. I just probably wouldn't recommend it because it's nail glue. So I'm going to show you how to add the lock hair in the front without having to unravel it and kind of wrap it around and do all that extra stuff. Now, this is the portion where I was saying that for the front, I would recommend using Marley hair instead of Kankalon hair. Kankalon hair is all I had at home at the moment, and I knew how to go ahead and just work around it. I later on went back and used the Marley hair for that. So right here, I'm going to show you the technique on how to add the crochet hair to the braid, and kind of an easier way than unraveling. So right now I'm just opening up the pack of hair, and then what's going to happen is I'm going to go ahead and take the latch hook, put the crochet lock on it, and pull it up the shaft of the braid. That's what's going to happen right now. So you're going to see that. The reason why this would be easier with Marley hair is because Marley hair is rough. So that braid that you see me getting ready to wrap around the lock, it will kind of fit. It will just wrap around so much better and stay, even with the glue. It's just so much easier than the Kankalon. And later on, off camera, I went ahead and did that. But for the technique, I'm going to show you how I did that right now with the Kankalon hair. I just go ahead and thin it out, and I go ahead and wrap it around the lock, and then I seal it with the glue. This is only good for short hair because it's not interfering with your hair at all, because it's so short that it's not even touching, the nail glue is not even going to be able to touch your real hair. It's going to just be on the braiding hair. After this, I'm going to also show you a technique on if maybe the hair is a little bit longer or you just don't like what I did just here. There's another way that you can do it as well, and you still don't have to unravel. When you unravel, it just messes up the integrity of the lock and it just makes it look weird. Sometimes it straightens out a little too much, so you definitely don't want that. So this is definitely an easier way to go. In the second one I'm going to show you is if your hair is a bit longer and you don't want to wrap your hair into it like that. You kind of just want to do it another way. I'm going to show you that as well. All right, so now we're coming to the end and you're going to go ahead and take the glue and you're just going to go ahead and seal it and use your finger to just kind of mesh it together. Now, I promise you this does not mess up your hair. I do it all the time. The key is just that you have to have short hair. Over time, the nail glue weakens, so it's not even going to be hard to take out at all. I do it all the time with my hair. Anybody who follows me on Instagram sees that I do this with my hair as well, and I have locks in right now that you could see that I've done it, and they come out really easily over time, so it's not an issue at all. I just wouldn't recommend doing this with long hair because I definitely don't want you to get it in your real hair, that's for sure. And then I'm just cutting the excess off, and that's pretty much how I put them together. I don't like them perfect because they're locks, so I like them to have some kind of bumps in them and stuff like that just to make it look a little bit more realistic. And then the second one I'm going to show you right now is the technique for maybe if you just didn't like the first one that I showed you. And basically it's still going to be attaching the lock, but you're not going to use the braided portion to wrap around. You're going to use another piece, and that's what you're going to see right here in a moment. All right, so instead of using the braided hair to wrap around, you're going to take another piece and wrap it. And then you're going to do the same thing. You're going to wrap it, and then when you don't want to go too far down because then it's going to kind of make them really straight, and then it's going to look weird because the other locks are pretty much, you know, they're crinkly. So you're going to just try to stay on top or closest to the scalp as possible, and then just keep going until the hair runs out or you're ready to cut, and then you can go ahead and seal from there. And you'll see the difference between the two. I prefer the first one because, again, your hair is short and it's just easier. Crochet is supposed to be easier. You don't want to make your life harder with crochet. That's for sure. So just pick the technique that you like. If you do prefer unraveling it and wrapping it that way, that's perfectly fine. I just personally like the locks to look the same, and I don't want a whole bunch of straight locks in the front and then crinkly locks in the back. That's not gonna work for me. So just do what works for you. This is just my way of doing it, and just go from there. Everybody can tweak their stuff the way that they like. This is the way that I like to do mine. Here I'm still showing you the second technique, and I'm just going to go ahead and cut off the excess, and then I'm going to go ahead and glue it, and then we're going to go ahead and just proceed with the rest of the individuals, and then I will come back with you guys at the end. My mom was getting sleepy, so I had to kind of cut it short, and then I'm going to show you guys the finished product. No, let me put lipstick and stuff, I beg. I told you let me do your makeup, you said no. Yeah, but at least you can do this and that quickly before. No, beg, don't post me like that before they say, who is this? All right, how do you feel about your makeover?
I love it. Oh my goodness, you did an awesome job. You really nailed it. I love my hair and I love my makeup. I feel like new, and I'm sure I'm gonna rock this style for a long, long time.
All right, do a turn around.
Just look. Oh my goodness, I love it. Wow, I feel hot. I think I'm ready for a date. Thank you. Thank you, Nyna.
No
Thank you. I love it. Thank you. Oh my goodness. So I'm out and about and going places now. Woo. Now I got a new attitude. Ooh. Yes.